Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. That's right, I homeschool. I'm Mrs. D, and today we're going to be talking about our goals for the 2023 to 2024 school year. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. If you haven't seen part one, I'll go ahead and link it down below. In part one, I show you the curricula that we have chosen for the next 180 school days, and I also gave you a breakdown of our schedule. Okay, before I even could come up though with a schedule and choose our curriculum, I really had to pick our goals. Why are we homeschooling, right? And what are our top 3 goals for how would we measure a successful school year? So one of the things that I really wanted to do is I wanted to make sure that I was putting on the brakes and not measuring the success of a school year based on the amount of curriculum that we finished. There are so many resources that we're leveraging, and I didn't want us to get stuck with saying, okay, we're going to finish Blossom and Root and Build Your Library or Alpha Phonics, Schiller Learning. I didn't want to put any sort of curriculum goals as part of our success measurement for the school year. Mainly because, well, 2 reasons, right? He's in preschool. I think that as a society, we kind of put these pressures on ourselves to hit these goals, talking about like finishing curricula or, learning to read by this age, learning addition, learning subtraction. Oh my gosh, learning to speak. But I feel like for our family, although being involved in the learning process is a main motivation for me for being a homeschool parent, that's not the real goal of like what we want to succeed or what we want to use as a success marker for our school year. So goal number 1 for us is not related to academics at all, but I really want my child in this next year to develop a sense of the greater good. In other words, I want my child to understand the importance of kindness to other people, to our community, to our country, to those outside of our country, the world, the people of the world, as well as the planet itself. And I want him to start understanding that while we are very important, while our emotions of course matter, what we do day to day matters, but there is so much that we can do that will have a big effect, like a ripple effect. The kindness to a neighbor is more than just a single action. It has these other effects in the community. Doing something that is a good effect has some good effects in our community is important. It ripples out and it spreads. And, reality is, you guys, we live at a time where there's a lot of strife, right? There is a lot of conflict. And I just want my child to grow up I want him to be part of the solution, right? I don't want him to be part of the problem. And so I want that to start now. So how can we measure, right? That's a really arbitrary goal. How can we measure success in this? Well, throughout the year and by the end of the year, I really want him to be initiating kindness. And of course, at the beginning, especially, and throughout the whole year, he's going to be mirroring what we do, what my husband and I do. And so we are going to be, as a family, really working together to try to better the world that we live in the ways that we can today. And I want to see him starting to initiate things, to start these conversations. I want him to be involved in the process when we're planting trees or when we're making our treat to go give to our next door neighbor who's having a bad day or whatever it is. I want him to be involved and I want him to initiate it. And I want him to start asking why. I will count it to be a success if he says, well, why are we doing XYZ thing? What good is it? And then for him to start thinking about the ripple effect of our actions. That will be a good success for me. Okay, goal number 2 is a little more academic related, but again, yeah, it's not fully academic related, but I want him to still love literature. We are as a family, we love reading. We read a lot. my child initiates picking up books and looking at pictures and telling stories. His imagination is going, and I want that to continue through the end of the year. One of the things that I have noticed, especially for me, I'm someone who loves reading, but there was a period of time where I did not care for it. I did not pick up any books because I was so burnt out by the pressures of school. School, you focus on so many books, so many things, that it really took the joy out of reading for me for a period of time. Now that was when I was older, but I want that to always be my goal. Every year, there needs to be some sort of goal to remind me that we need to keep that joy of reading, which means approaching literature and reading as a family in a, not as a rigorous way, but as a keeping it light. So I want to make sure that we continue that. So how will I measure success with this love of reading? Ultimately, if my child is independently picking books, being asked to be read to, or trying to read, I count that as a success. We would have hit that goal if we have that all the way through the year. Okay, and then my final goal, you guys, is I want my child to be a scientist. What do I mean by that? I want him to ask why and wonder. I want him to test things. I'm not saying that he needs to test these crazy solutions or like tackle these big problems, but I want him to think, like, I wonder what will happen if I do this. What do they say in Sesame Street? I wonder, what if, let's try. I want him to have that mentality. I think that if we can foster this natural curiosity and we feed into that, combine that with this love of reading and caring for bigger things outside of ourselves, we are setting him up for a really successful life, both on a personal level and an academic level. Because if our child is able to care about something and try to think of solutions to those problems, and then read about, research, and better his mind, expand it, we are going to have just one heck of a person on our hands. And that is the goal. The goal is to give him that foundation. So the foundation to care for other people and our planet, the love of reading, and to foster that curiosity, to wonder and to test different theories. So those are going to be our 3 goals for this upcoming year. Let me know what you guys think down below. Do you guys create goals as a family? What are your whys? Like, what are you trying to achieve on a personal level with your children, on an academic level, etc.? All right, well, thank you so much, everyone, and I will talk to you soon. You have a good one. Bye-bye.